Man, let's just cut through all the smoke right now because what just went down in the WNBA isn't small, it's historic. And if you're paying attention, you can already see where this is heading because Napheesa Collier didn't just say a few words in an exit interview. She lit a fire under the league, a fire that the WBPA, which is the Women's Basketball Players Association, immediately stood behind. This is the WNBA Players Union, right? And they stood behind a fire that her peers backed and a fire that the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, tried to smother with a damage control press release that said a whole lot of nothing. Now, let's be real. Napheesa Collier spoke truth from the player side. And the response from the union shows she ain't speaking for herself. She's speaking for the majority, not the minority. So when the WBPA drops a statement saying her word speaks for the feelings and experience of many, if not most of all our members, that means this isn't just about Nafisa Collier venting. That's the heartbeat of the league talking. Now, Kathy comes out saying she respects the players, that she's disheartened by Fee's characterization, but here's the problem. She didn't actually dispute anything. She didn't say Fee was wrong. She didn't clarify what was misrepresented. She just pulled the politician move, give respect, sound collaborative, and slide around the actual criticism. That's not leadership, that's spin. And what's wild is the players aren't buying it. Look at Lexie Hall, who we about to see in this clip in a minute, who you see on the screen. Look at Stephanie White. Look at Chelsea Gray. They all co-signed Nafisa Collier. And these aren't just random rookies in the locker room. These are respected voices in the league. But don't take my word for it. Check out what Lexi Hall had to say.
Yeah, I think everyone did. Definitely, it's a really big time. It's exciting to see players speak out and speak up about what's going on in our league and where our league can go and changes that need to be made. And I know you're talking about Fee's interview, and I think when it comes down to it, I think I agree with everything she said. We're at a really important time in the league, and changes need to be made. And so you're seeing her talk about that, and I'm really proud of her for making that statement today.
Yeah, I think Napheesa.
There you have it, right? So now this is what the WBPA had to say, right? They said the statement to the athletic on Nafisa Collier's comments. Nafisa Collier is an outstanding leader and officer of this union. When Fee speaks, people listen. We are confident that her words today speak to the feelings and experiences of many, if not most or all of our members. The leaders of the league and its teams would benefit from listening to her powerful statement. The players know their value, even if the league does not. They are fighting for their legacy and the future of basketball. Right? Now, we all know for unions to basically be the enemy of the organization. And in this case, the WNBA, where they usually try to funnel more money and constantly come up with these contract agreements. And the unions are basically looked at in a light of greed because they always want more, 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 trying to pull out of the organization. But in this case, this isn't happening. The WNBA Players Union, the Women's National Basketball Players Association, they're actually backing the simple fact of just the basic rule, let alone standard, should be in a pure competitive sport such as basketball, enforcing something that you think the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, will already know, such as player safety. Why it's embarrassing for the players union to have to remind the commissioner of the WNBA that you should actually cherish your players and actually advocate for their safety, which would show how at least you appreciate how valuable they are for this league to be what it is today. From the Caitlin Clarks, from the Nafisa Colliers, from the Aja Wilson, from the Leah Boston, from the Lexie Hall, Chelsea Gray, Cheryl Reeve, a legendary coach who went ballistic when Napheesa Collier basically twisted her ankle. It looked like a fracture or something. How the referees are so horrible. On top of the commissioner of this women's league isn't saying anything but letting it be a WrestleMania drama show where it's looking like prison ball and women are basically having straight out brawls like this is boxing or wrestling, taking away the game of basketball. Out of respect. It's disrespect for the basketball, but out of respect for basketball, It seems like the Women's Players Union have more respect for basketball and cherishing the game more than the actual commissioner. That's wild, right? So I say all this to say, right, and we'll get to Kathy Engelbert because she released a statement that I talked about in regards of Napheesa Collier's comments about this whole thing. I did a video on Napheesa Collier's comments. Go check that video out before you check out this one. Then come back and watch this one. And look, this tells me that you got a league office saying one thing, but the locker room across the WNBA are saying the complete opposite. That's a recipe for chaos, and you can see it already spilling over into the collective bargaining agreement talks, right? Where the collective bargaining agreement is obviously the WNBA, I should say, the Women's Basketball Player Association, which is their union, and the WNBA players are actually trying to negotiate to get more money in their contracts and actually get paid what they're worth, they feel like, because now that the league is growing and now we know that the WNBA has a media's rights deal where they can broadcast more of the WNBA games, you know, when it comes to Amazon Prime and things like that, where they feel like they should get a cut and percentage of that ratings revenue from the media's right deal that the WNBA is having, which is like a $1 million deal, whatever the case may be, right? So when you look at all of that, you can see it spilling over into collective bargaining agreement talks because the players like, look, y'all not even protecting us on top of actually cherishing our safety, actually holding the referees accountable, which we make this league because we are the players. So definitely that's going to be considered in a main factor when it comes to wanting to get paid more from these WNBA players. Because Chelsea Gray flat out admitted negotiations are stalling, that the league hasn't come to the table in good faith. And players are tired of being told they are valued while the product on the court keeps being mishandled. The product, as in the WNBA players, obviously, from officiating to fines to dirty plays being ignored. And that's another point, because how Kathy Engelbert talk about transforming the league when we still got referees who can't tell the difference between tough defense and straight up assault. When trucking, hair pulling, face scratches, and rugby style hits are being ignored, but players get whistled for clean contests. So a clean contested play, basketball play, where someone has their hands straight up and they go up and they call that a foul. But when women actually get their hair pulled and so forth, it's not a foul. That ain't transformation. That's regression. That's falling behind. That's destroying the league. Fans see it like me. The players see it. Obviously, Napheesa Collier and others are speaking. Coaches see it. Cheryl Reeve, Becky Hammond from the Las Vegas Aces, Cheryl Reeve from the Minnesota Lynx, coach Stephanie White from the Indiana Fever. These are all head coaches who got fined for saying what's obvious to anyone with two eyes. So now the narrative isn't just about Napheesa Collier versus Kathy Engelbert. It's the entire league versus Kathy Engelbert. Now let's check out Kathy Engelbert release statement, right? And she says, as it reads, New York, September 30th, 2025, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert issued the following statement on Minnesota Lynx Napheesa Collier comments. I have the utmost respect for Napheesa Collier and for all the players in the WNBA. Together, we have all worked tirelessly to transform this league. My focus remains on ensuring a bright future for the players in the WNBA, including collaborating on how we continue to elevate the game. I am disheartened by how Napheesa characterized our conversations and league leadership. But even with our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and to this work will not waver. Now, that's Kathy Engelbert's statement as it reads, right? When you look at this thing, man, and you really look at this thing, it is the entire league versus Kathy Engelbert. And let me keep it all the way real. Once players smell blood in the water and realize their leverage in a new collective bargain agreement for their new salaries being negotiated and get more pay, if leadership doesn't shift, you're going to see a straight up civil war inside the WNBA. And this ain't about emotions or agendas. And I'm not talking about like a physical fight, but the fight for like the actual integrity of basketball to be respected. If the products looks like rugby, if players don't feel respected, if the commissioner can't own up and show accountability, the WNBA is headed for the ugliest power struggle yet. And how you think sponsors are going to look at this? How you think fans are going to stop tuning in when they finally start getting eyeballs and actually gaining traction to have it be a successful leader, actually not being a negative when it comes to financially being constantly um backed and supported, and NBA owners of NBA teams constantly propping this league up with money for it to continue to exist because it can't make money on its own to survive and be actually able to financially thrive. So Napheesa Collier just cracked the door wide open, and now the whole league is walking through it, right? So at the end of the day, Kathy Engelbert needs to take accountability, make the adjustments, or she needs to resign, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about that. I want to know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Should Kathy Engelbert resign? Because the more she talks, it seems like the more she shows her true colors of actually not having her best interest for the players, the fans, and so forth. Catch you in the next one. I hope you guys got some value from this video. And I'm going to leave out with something wise to say. At the end of the day, if you truly cherish something, you're always going to take accountability, look at the root issue for what it is, and look at options to resolve it. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to a collaborating effort, like it says in this statement, when it comes to ensuring a bright future and actually trying to transform something, you have to always look at making adjustments to do the right thing so things can continue to thrive. And you showing your love for the game of basketball, you showing your passion and love for actually wanting things to transform to actually be great. You have to put your all on it. You have to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. But love is an action. So if you really love and passionate about the respect and integrity of basketball as a commissioner, and just as a person in your life, family, because I like to connect this from a humane level and just give game and give advice because we just having a conversation. But if you truly love something, if you're truly passionate about something, love is action. Without the renewing of the mind to be wise and doing the right thing, there can be no transformation to take place. It's all a mindset thing. And then your mindset will correlate to the actions you take because love is an action which will show how much you really cherish that thing. And I'm going to leave it on that note, family. Peace.